Welcome to Watching Worst Films, your guide to Razzie history. Ordinarily, we are the podcast that watches one Golden Raspberry Award winner for worst film every week. My name is Jericho Reed, with me, Kyle Szymanski.
Yeah, hello, hello.
But that is not what we're doing this week, is it, Kyle?
No, it's not.
No.
No, you've taken me on a journey this week.
An odyssey,
And
a Homerian odyssey. Because every so often we like to spice things up with a special, which allows us to tackle something which we wouldn't normally cover in our year by year Razzie breakdown. And so the genesis for this one, we watched Showgirls about a month or two ago, because it was, of course, a Razzie award winning film. And that was when I certainly discovered the existence of Showgirls too.
which is a massive surprise to me because
Yeah.
I pride myself on sequels.
You're the
It's
man
my whole
for.
thing. It's my whole existence. My whole personality has been built around sequels. And
Kyle
I don't know,
Szymanski too.
especially Verhoeven sequels. That makes it even worse.
Absolutely. Have you seen all the Starship Troopers?
I have, of course.
Yeah.
I don't count the animated ones, the three films of the trilogy, of course. So yeah, like massive fucking shock to discover that this is a right, and this is another thing. So I'm going to say this: I did a little research while watching the film because I was
Okay. It
gobsmacked.
didn't hold your attention.
It,
Okay, yeah, yeah. No, it's a mystery.
it was
It's
no the
like
first. It
it's
lost me. I wanted to fucking throw myself down a fucking flight of stairs like Exorcist
yeah.
an hour in, but for the first half hour, I was
An hour. I
gobsmacked.
thought you were gonna say five
Oh no no
minutes in.
no no!
You're a
I think
generous man.
I think it's 45 minutes when my background screen appears, and I
Mm.
think that's when I tapped out pretty much mentally. But the first
Listeners,
45,
Kyle's background says it's a shot of a kind of a villa, a home with the super title 3 hours
mhm.
later.
It's also the
So
best
yeah,
shot in the whole film, so
yeah, yeah.
take that for what you will. So yeah, I got a bit obsessed, and I was like, I need to know a little bit more about this film because I'm
So I
amazed.
DM'd Rena Riffel on
No,
Instagram.
well, no. So that's just what you're talking about. Is it a sequel? Because
Mm.
it's described variously as a sequel, a remake, parody,
Okay.
and an
Oh,
art house
interesting.
film as well. So it's got a lot of bows to the string, let's say.
Methinks there is some Tommy Wiseau retroactive
Well, it's because it
remarketing
wasn't
going
gonna
on
be
here.
Showgirls 2.
Yeah,
That was the most interesting thing. I think it was Star, whatever the fucking thing's called, Star Finder or whatever, Star Dancer, and then it was
yeah,
going to
yeah,
be
yeah,
Showgirl, which is a great title. I like
yeah,
Showgirl.
yeah,
The Reverse Aliens, I'm always up for,
yeah.
and take away the money sign, do the reverse
Yeah.
James Cameron, wipe it off the board, and then it became Showgirls to Penny from Heaven. It is a passion project. I read that she took many years to develop this. Kickstarted it. It was 30,000 budget. I know I'm all onto
Yeah.
this. I got obsessed into reading about this just because what the fuck? What am I watching? I did not expect. This isn't Starship Troopers 2, Basic Instinct 2, RoboCop 2. This isn't what I'm
Yeah.
expecting.
No, sorry, no.
So yeah, so as we go into it, I have lots of little things and tidbits to talk about, but yeah, going into it though was completely blind. This was an odyssey for me. This is mind
Yeah.
blowing that this exists. And what about yourself?
I discovered its existence on the first episode, the Showgirls episode, and that kind of planted the seed that
Hmm.
it would grow and consume my every waking moment. So when we were in danger of missing a week, I was like, oh, you know what? I'll just watch Showgirls. I can speak about that for like 10 minutes and just say, like, back
Hmm.
next week, folks. And then I watched it, and I was like, we cannot possibly throw this away
No,
on a 10 minute. Like,
no.
this Kyle
This.
needs to see this film.
Hmm.
So I watched it about 3 weeks or so ago, and then I rewatched it for this because I looked at my notes and I was like, these don't make any sense
Yeah.
to me. And so I was like, I'll need to rewatch it again. And I have had rather a rough weekend. I have not had a huge amount of sleep. So this isn't going to be the suave, smooth Jericho that everyone's used to. This is going to be a babbling, Biden-esque, stuttering fool who's going to sound like he's lost his mind. Because there is like, I'll tell you right now, this might not be so much a podcast episode as it will be a table read because most of my notes are quotes from the film. I
Hmm.
think
Good,
I have almost just transcribed the script because
good.
there are so many quotes in this.
And you know what? Like before we get into it, it does help that this is Showgirls one again. So we don't need to explain the plot. If you've seen Showgirls, it's the same thing. Lines are beat for beat. Like it's a weird thing. So if you've seen Showgirls one, we're watching it again, but on no budget, no Verhoeven, no crew, and no talent. And yeah, that's handy because I have thoughts, I have opinions, I have tidbits. I don't have much to say about the actual film beat by beat as we usually do. It's
Yeah.
impossible. It's impossible to do it without just saying it's Showgirls one again.
Yeah, so we spoke about this on the original episode. Like, it sounded like, was it Joe Esterhaas had like
Hmm.
written a script for Showgirls 2, or they had decided that Nomi Does LA was going to be
Hmm.
the plot for Showgirls 2. So we we don't have like, I don't know what kind of release this got. It didn't get like, it might have got like a
It got
tokenist.
yeah, midnight film showings, art house theaters, film festivals, and charity non-profit organizations, and then DVD, VOD. So
Yeah.
limited and not Razzie eligible, sadly,
Yeah.
but it did have a limited release.
Yeah, so you said $30,000
Hmm.
budget with all of that being Kickstarter. I want to know the rewards. I want to know like what the Kickstarter campaign
Well,
was.
you've seen. I think it's easy to tell the rewards because half the cast or the cast on Wikipedia with no blue links are probably pledges.
I don't think so.
I think
I
there
think
is a
those
lot.
are.
I don't think you're getting happy endings from Rena as part of your pledge.
I think you might get. I think you might get a signed G string.
30,000 is shockingly low, though. Like, not just for an independent film from this
Oh,
time, but for that, all you've been able to raise is embarrassing. Because Showgirls has a fan following at this point. It's a cult classic. It's on the circuit already by 2005.
yeah, when you consider it, okay, 30,000 is paltry for the
Yeah, no, like
budget
yeah,
for a
like
Hollywood film,
if we
but
got
when
30,000, we would make a fucking masterpiece. But like,
well, yeah, we'd be, yeah,
but
we'd be
I'm
over the
saying
moon. But
if you've got
yeah,
still, if you've starred in Mulholland Drive or starred, or
starred,
if you're
yeah.
starred in striptease, yeah, if you must have
She's
some
not Zach
context.
Braff.
Yeah, but like she must have. You must have some fans. I see fan films funded more. You get stupid Batman fucking shit, cape shit
Yeah,
that's
but they're a
funded
fan of
for.
Batman. I don't know many people who are a fan of
I don't
Penny
know.
from
No,
Showgirls.
no, but I think Showgirls 2, like, I, d- I don't know, it's weird, but isn't it such a
If
passion
Paul
project from
Verhoeven
her?
tweets it out, then sure. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I
Had
guess. Yeah, yeah.
my own,
It's
yeah, it's just very low. Someone, that's more than, I can raise 30,000, so why can
yeah,
Rena
yeah,
raise more? That's
yeah.
embarrassing. Sorry, but it is. So, like, but it probably made a profit. It probably made something back for
yeah,
even DVD, just out of curiosity, like, bins,
yeah.
like, yeah, bargain bins. It probably made her something. So fair play.
Okay, so we I feel like we've gone way too deep into the weeds here. So Showgirls 2 Pennies from Heaven is directed, written, and stars a bit part character from Showgirls 1, who I
Yes.
think we might have singled out. I think you might have said Penny was decent.
I didn't mind her. She's
Yeah.
the one that gets married off and gets
Yeah,
pregnant.
yeah.
I remember her character, and it's the same husband as well that reprises at the start. So
Yeah,
I was
he was a big like he
yeah,
was a bigger part than Penny.
much bigger part. I don't remember her in striptease. I remember when we
Yeah.
talked about the crossover. She's one of them, and that's when I discovered she was in Mulholland Drive. I remember that from the podcast, but I don't remember in either of those films. So but I do remember her from Showgirls one.
Yeah, so this is impressive as a Wellesian project, isn't it? For
Mhm.
like
But
like
no, but
writing and
I've read interviews with her, and she talked. It was the fan base of Showgirls one that inspired her. Like seeing it become a,
mhm.
a popular cult film and doing really well in home video. Like it, she made she got a kick off it some, and she was passionate about it. Like it's not a cash in. Like there's nothing better than what like when you're bringing up with it's nothing better than watching people that have no talent really try and be an auteur, and like
Yeah.
it's so wonderful to like. even if it's awful and it's 3 hours long and
Yeah,
I'm miserable. I'm so happy that this exists and it's this
yeah.
and not just a cynical TV cheap
Straight to
straight to
DVD.
yeah
Like
yeah.
you spoke about it being like Star whatever and remarketed as Showgirls. It doesn't feel like that. You could get like we spoke about Basic Instinct 2 is just kind of
Mhm.
a generic erotic thriller that has been
I
rebranded.
I'd rather have this than Basic Instinct 2. Give me Basic Instinct 2, but like
Yeah,
uh,
written by
the
I don't know.
bartender, yeah,
Yeah,
has his own spin-off where he's the main. Yeah, absolutely. Like I applaud. I really really appreciate her effort. Like there's no
yeah,
talent. It's dreadful. Like gotta get all that out of the way. But yeah, like still A for effort. And yeah, I'm glad it
yeah.
exists.
So let's get started.
Let's
Without
get
further
started.
ado, my first note: Windows Movie Maker, because it
Oh,
starts off with it.
it's wonder. I first laugh because it says written, produced, starring, but it does say edited by Rena,
Yeah.
and then it cuts to that, and I was like, oh, wonderful! Like this is why I can't be a comedy writer. That's too good in real life. It exists
Yeah.
perfectly, and yeah, it's my jaw fell. I just didn't because it looked like the title opening Showgirls 2
It's it's
is
like what? It's like a blue sky
so
and then just sort of like rainbow
rainbow,
text.
the most
It's like
generic
the
font.
default like Comic Sans kind of like Rena rifle film.
Unfucking believable. I'm so happy with it. Yeah, but then I was like, still wasn't taking it in. I don't think because it could be
Yeah.
a DVD thing. Like I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
the Starship Troopers 3 doesn't have a grand opening at times. Some terrible
Yeah.
films do have like rebranded cheap DVD, so it didn't sink in. It just made me laugh, and then
Yeah, yeah.
and then the first actual scene with Jimmy and her, that's when it synced in. That's when it really clicked that I am, oh my God. Oh, like birdemic. Like I wasn't ready. I didn't expect it. I didn't do any research. So just going in blind and seeing the cheapest, like no crew. Like surely there's
No,
no one's
no.
mic'd
Well, like
up, no one's
the
got booms.
credits have like a huge list of names, but I was like, we filmed things, me and you, that have higher production values
Mhm.
than this.
That still
It's
have a lot of
it's
names
like
as well. Like
yeah, yeah,
that's the thing. We can have many people because you get helping hands. I noticed that with the
yeah,
music. Um,
yeah.
it doesn't say like music by. It's like additional soundtrack
Well,
from
it says
here.
score by Kevin MacLeod,
Okay,
which do you know him?
I don't know.
He's a big temp music guy. In fact, he might be the temp music guy. If
Ah,
you're looking for rights free music, Kevin MacLeod is your man.
because
So I was like, we've done things that I have just been
yeah
like, okay, stick some Kevin in here.
yeah
Tons of
okay.
podcasts have their theme by Kevin
Ah,
MacLeod. So I
yeah,
was
I
like,
don't cheap out. I
you're
call
making
in
a sequel
favors
to a
from friends.
Hollywood blockbuster, and you have
Well, that's it because
the
Wikipedia says music by Rick Whitfield, which is the additional music because there's a few
Mhm.
people that have additional contribution. I can't remember what their actual titles are, um, but it was
Yeah.
someone's come in and done a lick on a guitar or done like a faux porno kind of 70s riff, Boogie
Yeah.
Nights riff, just to help out.
It's an incredibly jarring soundtrack because you
Oh,
do get that stuff that's like Kevin MacLeod done on like a polyphonic
yeah.
keyboard, like, and then you get other bits which
Oh, it's
you're like, okay,
hideous.
this is
And there is one do not remember the scene, but like I was assaulted by the ears with this guitar solo, and it's obviously just improvised as long as the scene goes on for. So like I'm just gonna play until the scene ends.
is that not how Robert Rodriguez does it?
Yeah, yeah, of course it is. Yeah, but what happens when he makes a mistake? Robert Rodriguez would do it again,
No,
whereas he hits like three bum notes in a row, and I was like, oh no, you can't do that.
this is just like one of those silent cinema things with an accompanist playing along, like
Yeah,
no
like
redos. Yeah,
no redos,
it's
one take.
art. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. This is an art house film. This is
yeah,
Rena's fooled me.
yeah.
She's learned from
Like
Lynch.
we used to do these things in student TV. Like it came from the days of like cassette tape where you would film on a video camera and so you would have to edit in
Mhm.
camera. So you would roll and you only got one
Mhm.
take and you would just, make a fun
Oh yeah,
little whatever. And honestly, Rena seems like she has been
yeah.
doing that with this film. if you told me that every take was the first take, I would completely have believed you.
Yeah,
Because like people like you can basically see people forget lines and just
they
like
do. Well, that
it's
was my
like
next point. That's my literal next note. Is the very next scene, some fat lad does a line wrong and just does it again. Like fuck it, just try again. And I was like, okay, so your continuity of just fucking one take. Let's do it. It's Ed Wood and it's wonderful. Like, why do we need another take? We already got it.
okay, right. So to drag things back a little bit,
Re-listen.
my next note, this looks like porn because
Well,
it's just the lighting. It's like filmed in a like very flat video
mhm,
style, which is kind of synonymous with like porn of that
mhm.
era. It
It
like it
does.
has that like early digital camera aesthetic where
Hmm.
everything's just super flat and like it just shows like everything looks like a shitty set.
Hmm. I mean,
So yeah,
it's just someone's flat. It's just someone's apartment. It's so cramped and like you say, it's flat. There's no nothing. There's no vision in it.
yeah.
And that's my first note as well. Is these two actors were directed by Verhoeven and did okay. Like it shows when Paul's
It's a
gone. Like
real
wow.
testament to Paul. Like he is like a King Midas-esque figure
Yes.
where like you watch people's performance in this and you're just like, how on earth did he get a performance out of
Because
them? Because they
I had to look up it was the same Jimmy because I
yeah,
didn't think it was. I knew she was the same. I could, that's obviously the selling point. But I was like, oh, you
yeah,
had to recast your husband, and then I was like, shit,
yeah.
no, you were in
No.
Showgirls
Mm-mm.
and you were okay. So what the fuck happened?
Yeah. What has
Um,
happened? Yeah.
so yeah, it's a again the mouth is dropped at this point. I'm stunned at what I'm seeing. I'm stunned as well that this is the start of Showgirls one as well. Like we're getting
Yeah.
the boyfriend doesn't believe in the dreams and she wants to be a
Okay,
dancer and
okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I have
we'll get
some notes to get you through. It sounds awful. So you kind of alluded to this earlier. Like the audio recording doesn't sound like anyone's mic'd up
no
because
one's
like
mic'd
it's
up.
just wildly inconsistent audio. Like I think this is the worst sounding film I have ever seen. Where just like when like it's like the first things I ever made really when you're just kind of learning like oh here's how to mix audio and like it's like someone speaks and the mic is at one level and there's tons of background noise and then that cuts out and the next
Hmm.
person's really quiet.
And
It's just like
and like
it's
it's what you were
just,
kind of talking to before. Like when I used to watch like shot and video films from the 80s and 90s, your
yeah,
micro budget horror films. And obviously that's one channel, it's all mono, it's all
yeah,
hit with white noise, and you've got to just do your best.
yeah,
That's still
yeah,
better than this because and it's like you've said as well, like throughout the film, they will be mic'd up occasionally. There will be a
yeah.
boom used occasionally. I'll see the boom, and
it's it's
but
just
like
wildly
it's so weird.
inconsistent. It's like they 30,000 got them enough to hire someone, like hire a student to do some days, but like,
Well,
Miss Rifle, my mom can't drive me to the shoot tomorrow, and she's like,
yeah,
oh, it's okay, we'll just
this is where I believe the Kickstarter comes in. I don't have
yeah,
evidence of it, but I don't know if it will be the stuff that is mic'd up or the stuff that's not. Something was finished with the Kickstarter. Like
yeah,
we either ran out of money and the Kickstarter finished the shit stuff, or
yeah.
we had money and we spent it all on nothing.
Well,
I
I have some theories about that a little bit later on, but
okay.
yeah, like it reshoots Ahoy for this film because it's so inconsistent on
Hmm.
every fucking level. And like again, to go back to what you said about the what we were saying about the credits, like I'm sure there are like sound mixers and recordists. Like there is a sound department of like
Hmm.
upwards of two people who are credited, and I'm like, why on earth would you ever want your name put to this? I was like,
Hmm.
this you would never work again if you showed someone like, yeah, listen to my work on Showgirls too. Like, I don't deal with audio as listeners to this podcast will be able to tell you. And like I genuinely think I could have done a better job if I was a
Yes.
sound recordist on Showgirls.
Hmm.
Like it's just it's wild. And then my next note is this is genuinely one of the worst things I have ever seen. Like I know we speak about people who make that statement like, "Oh, Caligula is the worst film I've
Hmm.
ever seen," but I was like, on the technical level, this might be the most poorly made film I have ever seen.
It's up there. I think with all. Well, I think the comparisons to like Birdemic The Neil Breen films are
Because
very
Neil
evident.
Breen films, like, they sound okay.
They're better. Neil
Like the
Breen
Neil
films are
Breen
better,
films,
are
yeah, they're
much more
like
competent.
he's
And so is
insane
Birdemic.
as yeah,
Um,
exactly, yeah.
and so is
And same thing
Birdemic.
with The Room. The Room
Oh,
is
The Room's
technically kind
fucking
of
technically
faultless. Yeah,
compared to
exactly, yeah.
this, it's a totally yeah. I agree. There's what makes me a little bit sympathetic, I guess, is the fact it was a bin film,
Hmm.
a kickstarted fan film. It's basically a fan film. Like
Yeah, for sure.
it's not got a crew behind it,
Yeah,
and she knows that. Like she
yeah,
she does. That's why I think she has to do everything.
yeah,
But yes, it is. It is one of the worst looking things, sounding things.
yeah.
Pound for pound, bullet point for bullet point. This is the worst. One of the worst, anyway.
Yeah, it's taken us over a year, but we have found it. We have
Yeah.
watched the worst film.
Hmm.
Okay, so my next note, dancer, not a stripper. And so my notes are kind of a hybrid of we have my notes from the first time viewing and then
Hmm.
watching it back on second viewing when I could see the big picture. I was like Neo in the Matrix seeing green numbers. I recognized and I could appreciate the craft that went into the writing. So she's like, I'm not a stripper. I'm a dancer. And the
Hmm.
boyfriend is like, you dumb fucking bitch, you hoe. You need to have formal training to be a dancer. And so I was like, okay, this is the inciting incident. This is like, this is it. This is the call to adventure. This is what starts her odyssey. To the extent that there is a plot, it's driven by her trying to legitimize herself as a
She wants to be a head performer. She wants to be a star, or no, a
yeah,
star, or however she fucking says it. Yeah, she doesn't want just. She wants to be a dancer, but she wants to be a star. The fame, being the headliner. That's what she wants. She wants to be a showgirl again.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
My next note, I don't know if I can do this. It's worth saying that this was before the title sequence. But I was like, this is so bad. I don't know how I'm gonna watch 2.5 hours of this.
Oh yeah.
And then we get the title sequence, and the choreographer is credited,
Hmm.
which I thought was interesting.
I would take my name off this fucking thing if I was that person. Choreographed by Alan Smithy.
Yeah. Okay, and so my next note is the Scrooge McDuck, which reminded me of the goofy gimp in Color of Night. So, like, where the fuck is she performing? She's
Oh
performing what
yeah.
looks like an abandoned Disneyland attraction.
It's like a
Because
Honolulu bar, I think it's called.
yeah, it's like some guy's backyard tiki bar where he salvaged
Yeah.
like an old Scrooge McDuck for like a carousel.
It,
It's
it's
like,
so weird. And there is a pole next to the duck.
well, that's the carousel thing. I think is he's
Yeah.
like those kind of
That's the
like
closest
things
thing to a
mounted up.
stripping pole that we have. It's
Yeah.
impossible to get a pole, Jericho. Come on now. So we're gonna have to use this. We've got 30,000. Can't buy a pole, but we'll use this tiki hut and we'll green screen three sex offenders in front of them. And bish bash bosh. Showgirls too, baby.
So yeah, like also like I don't know, like it's funny because just like all of the things that like not that I ever went to film school, but I've worked on film school films, and so all the things they tell you about like okay, make sure and get a wild track for audio, and
Mm-hmm.
make sure you don't have any logos, and make sure this, that, and the other. This is just like an exercise in what not to do because I'm like, you're showing Scrooge McDuck in essentially a porn parody. I was like,
Yeah.
Disney would sue the pants off
Yeah.
you if anyone watched this.
It's yeah, but that's the thing. No one's watching it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Disney lawyers are just like, there's nothing to take here.
But this was the first scene where I was shit, like now I'm not happy because it cuts from her in a real back garden, tiki bar, whatever the fuck it is, smoking area, I think basically. And then the front of the customers that are watching her are watching in front of a green screen,
Yeah,
and that is fucking. Come on now, that's what I'm saying. Like you can do this, I can do this, you can do this, Rena. That is disgusting to be green screening a bar is in when you're in like fucking LA or wherever the fuck you are, Vegas,
Yeah.
meant to be. Oh, the Vegas cut as well.
She.
You know, when it cuts to Vegas, I don't know if this is
Yeah.
before or after, and it's literally stock footage taken from an advertisement. That's just it's unfucking unbelievable.
Well, you know, she's a pioneer, Kyle. The MCU gets so much flack for green screening, like
Hmm.
scenes which didn't need to be green screened. But Rena Rifle is an auteur. She was doing it like a decade before.
But like, it's surely it's more work to green screen a bar than just to go to a bar. um,
Yeah.
Rena, you can shoot in my bar if you need to. Come on, like this.
Showgirls 3 filmed in blank in Aberdeen. Um, yeah, so my next note, Showgirls 2 meta Charlie Kaufman adaptation. Because did she acknowledge, I can't quite remember this, despite two watches, like, does she acknowledge the events of
Yes,
Showgirls?
she
Yeah.
does in some ways. In some day, the fact she reenacts Showgirl, like New Me, she doesn't acknowledge that. But there is a conversation where she talks about the old porno lady that I can't remember her, the main star lady, who's like 110. Great. Um, she tells her about Showgirls 1 and how she
Yeah.
was a showgirl, and then
Yeah.
what happened, all the same, pregnancy, and blah blah blah. And I want to have another go. Like, I'm only
Yeah.
54. I'm still young enough to have another go. So she does mention her arc in Showgirls 1, but she doesn't talk about Showgirls 1, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, she doesn't say, like, in Showgirls 1, it's not, she's not Deadpool.
No, no, that's what I'm saying. At no point in the film does she go, "This is remarkably similar to what happened to another girl I knew,
No,
who
yeah,
went
exactly.
through the exact same thing."
Yeah,
um,
yeah. My next note was sleazeball. I think that might be the
yeah.
guy driving the car.
No, that'll be the guy at the bar. So the
Oh
producer.
yeah,
See, I paid attention. I paid
because is
attention
she
until the last time. She's dancing.
the
He
producer?
he
Is she like trying to? Is she trying to make a film or sell the story to? Like that's why I'm getting hung up on
he
this
well, he's a
meta Charlie
producer.
Kaufman angle.
So she takes him through to the pool table room where she's presumably going to give him a lap dance. He says he's a real film producer, and then he
Yeah,
produces a clip art business card, which is fucking fantastic. That's like movie producer,
yeah,
Hollywood baby. And she's like, "Wow, a real producer?" And he's like, "Yeah, I've got a role. You've got to come down, have an audition." She's like, "Me, a superstar, like a movie star." And then a bit from Showgirls 1 is where the other dancer comes in, and
yeah.
she's like, "You took my client," and they have like the worst fucking
Well,
catfight because
the
they can't.
line is,
Oh, you
"You
got it.
stole my customer. You stole my G-string."
And it's like it's one of those like we're not actually gonna. It's so fucking bad. And then the club owner comes in, cut it out, girls. Get back to work. And then they awkwardly stand there as well for like 3 beats where their like
Yeah,
lines are done, but I'm also the
yeah.
director and I haven't said cut, so we're just gonna stand here. Oh
Tight
wait, cut.
editing, tight editing. This rifle.
So yeah, that's what you're on. That'll be the sleazeball because he is like he's. There's also a guy in like a Guy Fieri flame shirt, or it might be the producer that's in the Guy Fieri shirt. um, I can't remember, but yeah, he's the producer. You got to come. We're gonna make it in Hollywood.
Yeah. Okay, my next note. So this was one of my rewatch reshoots. One scene that looks like an actual movie. So spoilers, if you watch right till the end, it says that this movie was shot on 35mm, 8mm, and Canon 7D. And so I was like, even the Canon 7D, if this film would be the shittest thing I have ever seen filmed on the Canon 7D because like those things they have that sort of amateur
Mm,
studentish look with like everyone going wild with depth of field, but
mm.
there's zero depth of field in this honestly just seems like it was filmed on a camcorder because everything is just so flat. And so I was
Mhm.
I just lost my mind when I saw that because I was like,
But
no
like
way in hell can you make 35mm look this shit.
yeah, I never once did I think this was shot on film.
Yeah.
Apart from again, apart from this one
Quentin
3 hour,
Tarantino came in and did
apart from
one
this
day. It
one
was,
little shoot, like this one shot of a house in like dusk, is the
Yeah.
one fucking shot that's like framed
That
and it's got a little bit,
$30,000
yeah, it's got
bottle of
depth
one
and stuff.
canister
Yeah,
of film.
obviously it's a budget thing and
Yeah.
renting equipment. Like that's the answer. I like to imagine because she's been around for a while. You know, David Lynch shot on like
Yeah.
digital, and Beethoven shot on 35. I'm gonna be the best of both, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's obviously budget, and she hopes you won't notice.
So there is that one scene which, like, once you're watching it, knowing what the rest of the film looks like, I'm like, oh, this might be shot on 35. At any rate, it's clearly shot on a different camera to everything
Mm-hmm.
else, and it's the Golden Nugget
Mm-hmm.
dancers where she's watching like a TV screen advertising the Golden Nugget dancers. I think it's when it introduces the theme of the do 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 do
Yeah,
do 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 do, and she screams, "Get me out of here!" I was
yeah.
like, okay, this has clearly been shot like separate to everything else because it just looks completely different and it
It
also looks a lot better.
looks all that.
Um,
It looks very Mulholland Drive.
yeah,
Like gotta call it like she's obviously picked up some things. This is a funny scene though because the Golden Nugget Dancers commercial is obviously like it's it's meta. It's a commercial within a universe.
yeah,
So, but she's got no money to make the actual universe or no talent to
yeah,
make the actual universe. So the meta world within it is so bad. I mean, it looks like something from the 60s the way it's pieced together.
yeah. You're waiting for Bo Derek just to
You
dance
oh no,
across
like
screen.
like her putting that together and going, that's good enough to be a TV commercial. Like, when I think of Better Call Saul with the fake, like, parody commercials he does in that, where it's low budget and, whatever. That's
The
funny.
one I always think of is Goodfellas with the
Yeah,
guy that Martin Scorsese, who was
yeah.
like an actual like
But, like,
whatever like used car salesman that
and you,
Scorsese
you
like
see you
he
see them in
directed.
Tarantino. I've seen
Yeah, yeah,
Lynch does them. Twin Peaks have their great things where it's low budget and it's fun. But this is shocking, and it's got like a weird Wizard of Oz. Like,
Well,
yeah,
that's clever, Kyle, because
yeah,
Penny's kind of like a Dorothy-esque figure who's
but it
venturing into
but
your.
in the commercial it takes up 50% of the screen and it's a static image while these
Yeah, yeah,
while these dancers and text are compressed into 50% of a CRT TV. It's fucking crazy. It's so, but it's good. It does look good, and yeah, it makes the film look better by comparison. So
yeah. Okay, so this is where we have the hitchhiker. Well, she is hitchhiking and she's picked up by a guy. And so this is where I started writing down lines of dialogue and I was like, I'm just going to end up writing the entire scene here because it's better to be a star fucker than a not a star fucker.
it's fantastic,
Are you a
fantastic.
stripper? I'm a dancer. Gun pool.
Yeah.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I give you a ride in my uncle's $1 million Porsche and you pull a gun on me?
Hmm. So it's great, like, because obviously she's gonna have to credit Joe if she just takes the dialogue from the hitchhiking scene from Showgirls. And the one, so you've got to write. That's one thing I've got to write it myself. I can't. I can steal the scene, but I can't steal the dialogue. But luggage, I can keep that in. But the rest, let's just go for it. What's great about this scene, and I've got a note about it, is the way it's cut. So she is like, I'm gonna go star, and then it's like boom, she's on the road for a frame, boom, picked up, and it's like no fucking about. Like it doesn't show you like people going past or honking or
No.
like no, she says instantly first person sees this beautiful 54-year-old young lady on the road. I'm gonna pick her up and take her to Vegas. It's so fucking funny. I was in stitches here, and again, it's just the blatant ripping off of the first film is so great. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. So my note here is on how this scene is shot because I was like, they're meant to be driving. I was like, this is just a black box. They're just in a black box
Yeah.
in an abyss, like with
But
frogs and crickets pumped into the soundtrack. I was like, did you ever even see a car? I was like, are they? Do they have the budget to afford a car? I
um,
was like, they just are side by side in a black box. I was like, this is an amazing, absurdist piece of theatre.
it's our house. So I told you.
Yeah. Right. So my next.
Wait.
Oh,
I'm really sorry to interrupt,
yeah.
but you can edit this in, leave it in. I don't give a fuck. Neither did Rena. So I have one thing I did remember, by the way, when we were talking about Showgirls one being mentioned.
Yeah.
There is a scene where no May fucking Penny's hiding behind a car and she's spotted by a guy.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Hey, I remember you. You gave me a lap dance at Cheetahs in 1995
Yeah.
in Showgirls 1." And she was like, "Oh shit, I'm being recognized everywhere. I need to get a disguise."
Yeah.
And it does a hard cut to her dressed up as a dead
That's coming.
Marilyn
That's
Monroe.
coming. That's coming.
Right. So we'll get to that. But that is another, that clicked to my head. I was like, I knew there was another fucking one. And during our little intermission there, I tried to find the Kickstarter for number 2. I cannot.
Yeah,
I'm
I'd
having
have
to
a
look
look
for
as well.
Internet
Yeah.
Archive. However, this year, Goddess, the documentary on the rise and fall of Showgirls, was kickstarted this year, and its target was 50,000, and it made 56,000. All right, so get it up here, Rena. But it gets better. It gets better because one of the tiered rewards.
It was written and directed by Cal MacLachlan.
No, for $75,
Uh-huh.
right? You could be a gambler for an original penny. So you get all the rewards at the $50 level, plus a DVD original release of Showgirls 2 Pennies from Heaven, signed by filmmaker and star Rena Riffel and co-star Peter Stickles. Right? Ships to anywhere in the world. Limited quantity. How many is left? 10 out of 10.
Amazing. Forget the Kevin Smith Patreon. This is where all the money's going.
However, the next tier is Paul Verhoeven scene sketches, signed by Paul Verhoeven.
Huh.
They are sold out. So same price as well. DVD of Showgirls 2, Paul Verhoeven sketch, signed.
Yeah. Amazing. Wow. Wow.
So take us back on track.
So my next note is, this is actually a better look into America's soul than Paul Verhoeven could ever imagine. Like, you're right, this is an art film. Like, this ends up being like I don't know, like, it's almost superior to Showgirls 1 in a sense, in that I'm like, this just like unintentionally, it kind of is telling its own story, I guess. Of like
I guess. I mean, that's generous. I would agree if it was 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And for the record as well, we watched the director's full cut. There is it was released. It's available on Amazon Prime, but it's a 100-minute cut.
Oh shit!
Which I'd love to watch that.
The studio
but
was
no.
down and I've got to lose this.
No. And I don't know if that's just like nudity scenes and stuff removed, or for whatever. It's a lot gone though. So
okay, it's a note I have later on, but we'll just speak about it here. I reckon I could get this to sub 90 minutes just without changing the script, without losing any scenes, just from cutting the gaping chasms before and after everyone says their line, because there's just so much dead air in this film. This film is only as long as it is because people are watching so slow.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're absolutely 100% right, and that's what takes away any real enjoyment. I mean, there's so much. It's good to listen to. I think it's a fascinating thing. It's a fascinating watch.
Yeah,
but I really can't You must have a lot of love for Showgirls 1, I think, to get the same enjoyment out of this as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's rough when they get out of the abyss and go to the bar, but it's not a bar, it's a barn. And he pushes it up against the wall in a field barn, so they can have their romantic. And it's good because again, filmmaker brain, it's the car headlights is lighting there in the shot. So, she's using her head, she's Ed Wooding it, like getting creative. So I can see them at least. So that's nice. It's but they fall in, like he pushes it up and the fucking barn collapses, the door folds in.
Yeah.
And I thought that was intentional, but they cut so quickly after it that maybe it wasn't. Maybe we've got one take and away we go. The car's running on fucking fumes here.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is weird. They do mention the luggage though, so it's she's seen Showgirls 1.
Okay, I have some more dialogue here for you. If you're gonna be rich, you gotta be a bitch. Is that right? And then my next one. I'm not really into stars. I wouldn't touch Lindsay Lohan with a 10-foot pole, or Britney Spears, or the Kardashian sisters, or Cher. Guess I'm just not a star fucker.
Mm-hmm.
Which
it's interesting to see Rena's go-to pop culture points as well, because she does it throughout the film, and you can tell like that's the like I can see her writing it,
No,
like
no,
and
no, no,
sure.
no. Honestly, I think this is where she is just like a Coen Brothers-esque master of dialogue because, or Britney Spears singular. I'm just like,
Yeah,
there are so many
but
lines
that's
here.
not in the script. No, that's not like it Spears in the script, but
You
he,
think that
he
guy
he
ad-libbed that?
he 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 fucked that up. He fucked it up, and she didn't notice. No one said anything.
Okay,
Next scene.
there's only one way to settle this. We need to make a Kickstarter for Showgirls 3, and one of the tiers will be a signed script for Showgirls 2 by Rena Riffel. It'll be like, aha! There we go! Written on the page. Spear.
This whole thing's a scam to find out who was right.
Okay, my next note. This is the couple. So this is after we've left the barn man. I'm the captain, and you're Elvis. So that's the duo and the
50-50.
yeah.
I think that's the follow-up line he says, yeah.
Yeah. The next quote I have here: "The one who's able to fool the world for being dumb is the one we should all watch out for." I know that saying. And Rena's delivery just cracks me up when I was like,
Rena's
a line of dialogue that has never been said by a human being ever, and Rena
no.
just perks up with like, I know that, I've heard that.
Yeah, and the way, yeah, it's great because you can see the concentration on her face. Like she's been in films, she's done this before, but it's like, oh my God, I wrote this line, but I can't remember it, so I have to just like slowly say it as I turn. Yeah, it's fucking
Yeah, yeah. Next line, Frankie, I'm bi. I split my shows up between Vegas and Hollywood.
amazing. So like I don't know. My next note here is Mulholland Drive.
That
When is this?
I've got some more. We'll get to that.
Okay, I don't know when this is in the film. My sense of time is gonna start going all over the place
Because
now.
these are the duo that she murders. So
Hmm.
like this is pre Mulholland Drive.
Okay.
Next note is they cut to a wide, which it's really weird. Like the editing rhythms in this film are just insane. And the only
Hmm.
possible reason that I could think of them cutting to this wide is to establish that they have a car. Where it's like, well, we
Yes.
didn't have one for that scene shot in the abyss, but hey, looky loo, hey, we have a car. Look at how big our
Hmm.
car is. We can touch it and everything. My next note: I'm done with men using me. DUN, done. And might be where you're right in that, like, if Britney Spears was intentional, I think it would have maybe hit you over the head with it a little bit more.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like she'd have lamped, she'd have been like, "You dumbass! It's Britney Spears, not
Yeah.
Britney Spear." Well, Spears, I wouldn't fuck none of them because
No, but I wouldn't spear her. Like it's easiest fucking thing to write in the world, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's off. One take, move on.
Okay, so she goes for a piss in the wilderness, and the music is like she's about to discover a genie. It's just like such magical, like like the score. Like maybe it's because I've seen this in a movie because it's Kevin MacLeod. Maybe I've seen it in a student film where someone does bump into a magical elf who grants wishes in the wilderness. But I'm just like, the
Mhm.
score is so fucking bad. Like I'm not just in a temp music bad way, but I'm like, there's better temp music than this. This just doesn't even fit. Next note: ketchup blood, murder Marilyn, pushes Marilyn
Yes.
over, who falls on her knife. Frickin' A.
Frickin' A, yeah. I remember Frickin' A because that caught me off guard. I was like, do what you want, Rena. You don't censor yourself. Come on. Yeah, this is where I was like, oh my God, she did watch Mulholland Drive. Like, obviously it's not Mulholland Drive. Nothing's like Mulholland Drive. Like,
She was in
but
Mulholland Drive. Of
but
course
she
she
was in
watched it.
Mulholland. Yeah, but if you like, I did read that. I read that somewhere on the research where she was asked if she understood what it was about,
Uh huh.
and she said, "Oh,
Yes.
not at all. But I need to, yeah, but I need to watch it again, maybe."
Okay,
Um,
that's good because I would be more concerned if she immediately said yes, that she
no,
did
like
understand
I,
Mulholland Drive.
she did not.
Yeah, because
I,
I don't
I, I
understand
don't,
Mulholland
I
Drive. So
don't
yeah,
understand my least favorite
unless
Lynch
Lynch
film for
gave a
the
little
record.
crib sheets to everyone, like
Mm.
here you go, like it's about the Iran Contra crisis. Key to understanding Mulholland Drive.
but yeah, like so, I don't know when do they literally go to past Mulholland Drive?
Okay, this is my next note. So the couple are insane and they try and murder Penny, and Penny kills
Mm-hmm.
them in self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where the ketchup blood looks like, because it's just like
Mm-hmm.
don't do murder if you are a shitty filmmaker as this.
Don't do murder and then just immediately move on as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Like what the fuck? Again, when you're talking about cut that, it
yeah,
makes no difference.
yeah.
Hey,
Don't
speed
have
us up.
blood on our protagonist's hands within the
Mm.
first 15 minutes that you never kind of come back to. Like, like Nomi becomes like a crazed, like violent murderer at the end of Showgirls, not
Yes.
like,
No. Yeah, you've got to be broken down
yeah,
and like
yeah.
see, it's the rise and fall. Ah.
So this is my next note, which you've already covered. You gave me my birthday dance at Cheetahs. What was that? 1995, and I was jumping out of my seat, being like, "Yeah, Showgirls won worst film in 1995." And I don't know, would it have killed them for a bit of striptease love, just like a little Easter egg? Like, hey, I saw
Yeah.
you at the Eager Beaver. What was that?
It's
1996.
it,
You worked with Ariel
I would have
Sharon.
I would have fucking like because you're referencing the three movies you
Yeah,
were in, right? Well, two of them. You haven't done striptease.
yeah,
Great fucking way. When she was talking about it, it's like, yeah, I used to be a big girl at Cheetahs, but then I ended up at the Beaver
yeah,
Club. Like,
yeah,
and that was a big downgrade for my career.
yeah, yeah.
Like you could easily dunk on striptease
Mm-hmm.
in a showgirls powerful way. Yeah, fuck it. Like, don't be ashamed of striptease.
Yeah, yeah. This is where she's like, because she's been recognized by the punter, and she's like, I need a disguise, and so this is where we get Mulholland Drive and the bloodstained Marilyn, because she puts
Mhm.
on the wig and the Marilyn get up. And I
Mhm.
was like, okay, if you're being on the run as a killer, maybe best not to dress in like a costume stained with blood. Maybe not
Yeah.
to dress in evidence from the scene of the crime. But
Very true.
anyway, that's what she does. And yeah, so Mulholland Drive, Lynchian, we get it, like lit by
Oh,
kind of like.
it's great. I almost thought she'd stole it for a second. I was like, because I was like, did because again, I'm thinking, where are you filming this?
Yeah.
I thought most of it was in Vegas, so I was like, well, you're not gonna go all the way out to
Mhm.
fucking Hollywood just for one shot if you've got 30 grand. But yeah, no, like I popped for it though. I did. I was like, oh, I see you were in that.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me, Rena.
My next note is Jimmy. What is the deal with these camera angles? Because they're filming from like top down. It's like it's
Mm.
such a weird, unnatural angle. Where I was like, I just couldn't understand it. Whereas like they make choices in this film which aren't out of laziness, because I'm like, it's harder to film this than it is like Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith would just have
Mm-hmm.
side by side two shot,
Mm-hmm.
like, and so I'm like, I have to applaud you for putting in the effort, but I was like, but why? Because it looks like crap. And
Because art, like that's where like bless her. That's where she does echo her character quite a bit. I feel like in terms of
yeah,
she doesn't understand. You need to go to films. You need to make films. You need to study this or at least know about it. You can't just make
Kyle,
a.
she has
You can't just be
served
a
the greatest
star.
apprenticeship that anyone could ask for. She has worked under, she has seen the masters, David
Mhm.
Lynch and Paul Verhoeven at work. You do not get any better tuition
She,
than that.
she's just like that's it. Like
It's
the
not like
film.
Jason Mewes directing a film having only ever been on Kevin Smith's sets.
But the thing is though, like, yeah, it's mad. Honestly, it
Yeah,
gobsmacks me at times, but God bless her.
yeah,
It's strange. She doesn't know what's wrong with it. That's the thing.
yeah,
It's a creative camera angle. She doesn't understand. She wasn't mic'd
yeah.
up in striptease, so she doesn't need to mic up people in this. Like you only.
She's like my infamous Dark Knight guy, Eric Roberts, who I'm almost quoting. And Paul, she's like, Paul, if I'm not wearing a microphone, how will people be able to hear me talk? What makes you think they want to listen to you talk? Okay, so Jimmy's lines, we get a call back to his iconic line from Showgirls.
Hmm.
Everybody got AIDS and shit. But
Hmm.
Rena modernizes it for a 21st century audience. H1N1 swine flu and shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I don't have anything to say, but yeah, it happened.
no, no. And then he's like, I got arthritis and shit, my
Mm-hmm.
knees and shit. And I was like, truly, time comes for us all. If even Jimmy is like, I don't know, this is my Top Gun Maverick.
The Jimmy looks old though, like he does. I mean,
The years have not been kind to Jimmy.
it's probably the biggest flaw with the film, other than the guy in the car, but not pointing out the time difference. You know, like they do make it out like this is a couple years after Showgirls, the way she's acting.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
isn't a middle-aged lady desperately trying to claw back her youth. This isn't the sad portrayal that I would make Showgirls to, like this
Yeah, that we will make
depressing. Yeah,
Showgirls to.
well, more on that. But yeah, like it's so it's. But you look at Jimmy and you're like, but Jimmy looks like a tired old man. Like there's like because he is. And he's doing
Yeah.
it for free. You know, when you watch these things, you know, where Hollywood friends, it's like Cool Cat saves the neighborhood, and you get Eric Estrada in or whoever, and he's gonna fucking say one line. You know, it's just a favor. You got an hour free. I'll get you drunk. Come to my
You
tiki
know, for
bar.
me, passion for the game is passion for the game. So my next note kind of ties into that. Learn ballet.
Oh,
So this is where Penny is speaking to like a young guy who is like he's opening a strip club,
his
and
uncle. No, no, wait, that's the driver that has the uncle. Never mind. Never mind.
yeah. Anyway, this is
Yeah, it's the
a
young guy.
young
The young
guy,
guy.
and
Yeah.
Penny's like, I'm gonna learn ballet, and he's like, or she's maybe like, I'm too old, and he's like,
Well,
how
that's
old are
it.
you?
Yeah, yeah, that's
30?
yeah. 34, and she's like,
32?
yeah.
35? And then she's like, 32 sounds good.
um,
Which, yeah, I
which
don't
is
know. I don't know.
very generous. He's 27. I remember
Yeah.
that. He's like because but I like older ladies. And he
Oh,
says, and there's a
God.
great line because he says it's like they're like bananas.
Women are like bananas.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're the sweetest when they're ripe, just before they go all wrinkly, and
Just
that's
before they shrivel.
British
Yeah.
Shrivel, yeah, that's the one. And that's a funny line actually. Like,
Yeah.
but she cuts far too quick for a woman that is like dragging out every fucking breathing second, dead air like you're talking about. When something is genuinely quite good, you don't let it land. You don't get a reaction. You don't do anything. You just fucking
No.
move the fuck on.
No,
That's
that's exactly it. Every line is not. We never get a reaction shot of how does this affect the other person in the scene. We just get the person staring vacantly after they finish
yeah.
saying their line.
Which would be what even that would be relevant for what he says, you know, like a vacant
Yeah,
stare of disbelief. But then she cuts too quickly for that to happen.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
The one time you're like, let it sink in, let it breathe.
yeah,
No, she just
yeah.
fucking moves on. Here's some old ladies dancing in a void again.
Yeah, because then he asks her to demonstrate like, okay, if you're gonna become like the new Barishnikov, then what's your routine? And she does like a
'Cause he's a musician, yeah.
yeah, she does like a kind of strip routine to him, and he's like, major conservatories aren't gonna give a shit about tits and ass or
Mhm.
pouring beer on your tits.
Yeah, which is
I'm just
100%.
waiting for him to continue because it's one of those things where just the repetition of tits just makes it funny. Of like, or rubbing your tits up against people,
Mhm.
or shaking your tits in different
But
directions at the
that's it.
same time, or
It's delivered with no self-awareness. Like,
no,
that's why I want to know. Am I being Tom Green here? Like,
yeah,
because the way she says it is so funny. Like, I want to be a big dancer. I want to be in like big. I want to be like Cher staged in the fucking Caesar Hotel, like Caesar Palace, whatever. And it's like, okay, show me what you got. And she pours beer on her tits. And then he is
yeah,
like, no, you need to be able to dance and like do
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Like, you know, just and it's like
yeah.
no self awareness comes into it, and it doesn't. I don't know. Like that's what you're saying. If it's meta and it's a Tom Green, then shame on me. I've been fooled, but I can't
That's where
tell.
I'm like, this is getting across things that Paul Verhoeven could only dream of. Of it's this hunger for fame and this ambition that's just misdirected and in service of nothing. Because she says like, maybe I could be in the Nutcracker playing one of the nuts or pastry things.
Fantastic.
Instead, I've been slumming it around the pole all the strippers like to lick for some reason. I licked it and caught pneumonia.
And again, for the record, the fucking she licks the duck, um, which is like scabby and falling apart and like rusting in someone's garden. Wonderfully lacks self-awareness.
Okay, my next line doesn't have quotation marks around it, so I think this is my own thought, which is, "You went to Juilliard. Why are you now opening a strip club?"
Hmm.
Um,
It's a good line. Yeah,
yeah, like,
good thought.
because like the guy's doing his own show, isn't he? That's why he's
Yeah,
interested in Rena. And then I haven't done a really good job summarizing the plot, because like
we
I'm
don't need
not
to. No,
entirely joking when I say this is like the Odyssey of she just wanders about, has weird little
that's
interactions
it.
with characters,
That's where
and
I'm
then
gonna
just
stop.
blunders into the
Yeah,
next scene.
that's where I'm gonna bring this like breakdown to a screeching halt is very soon, because it does become just walking to scene, do the walk into scene, do the, and like like the novelty wears off so fast. My brain
Yeah,
just shut off, and
yeah.
I went from obsessed to I'm seeing the mouse move, but no information's going in.
Well, I was the same, because we're soon going to get into Biden sundowning territory of I will lose all context for what's going on. It's just like, come on, Mac. I went to Juilliard for 17 years and no one taught me how to throw my bra on a chandelier. Man, come on, man. Nowadays, ladies used to wear skirts down to the knee, Jack, and touching the lady elbow was a special night, man. So, my next note, why the fuck are we getting another top-down chandelier shot? Which is what I was speaking about earlier. I was like, clearly there's some reason, as it's not easy to do. Like,
Hmm.
they put the camera in places that would require a lot of work, even if it's a little handheld
Hmm.
camcorder. But I don't know, I guess it's maybe like when you're a kid, like, or when you're a 32-year-old man, you are just like, hey, no one's ever done this. What if I just did this with
Well,
the
that's
camera?
exact.
And
That's
then you watch it back and you're
exactly.
like, oh, this is why no one's ever done it.
I remember filming like your little action figures and stuff, and I was
Yeah.
like it was on like the handheld fucking family
Yeah.
camcorder, and I had like I think it was like 5 minutes, like really brief time. You'd be you do all these scenes, and like it wasn't stop motion. You'd just be moving shit about. But it was the
Yeah.
exact same where I'd be fucking bird's eye. I'd be like just throwing the
Yeah.
camera about, and then you'd watch it
What if the
back.
camera's up Tom Holland's ass, and then you
Yeah.
become Joe Russo, the director of Avengers?
And then yeah, like as a stupid kid, and like the more like it's just the more you watch films, you
Yeah.
know there's a reason. It's the same why you read a lot of books, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
there is rules and things.
Punctuation exists
Yeah,
for a
like
reason, Cormac.
don't you dare. Rules are there to be broken, of course. Like, but you need, and I 100% agree with that. You need to know the rules, and
Yeah.
like you can't just wildly flail about and do it. Like
Yeah.
it's what pissed me off with Battlefield Earth. I don't understand what you're trying to do with this. Like you know surely what a film looks like, so why don't you
Yeah.
just copy it? Like if I was Rena, I would be watching Showgirls one and just
Yeah.
literally copying how he's doing
Yeah.
it.
We don't do anything that he hasn't done
Yeah,
in
that's it.
the
Like
original.
if
Yeah.
Paul, even if Paul does, obviously you can't do the same like big shots in the big clubs or bars. You don't have the
Yeah. We're
budget.
not going to get a jib
But
tracking
even
through.
if it is just two people talking, how would Paul shoot it? Okay,
Yeah.
that's how we'll put the camera there. Like,
Yeah.
surely that is simpler than just attaching it to a fucking chandelier.
But honestly, and I know we've harped on him way too much, I don't want this to become the Kevin Smith hate podcast, but I am not being like notorious Jericho, if he's not babbling incoherently and stuttering, incapable of getting words out. Jericho trope of saying things which he doesn't actually mean, saying them ironically. I do 100% sincerely mean she is a better visual director than Kevin Smith. Like, this is more interesting than,
She
like,
tries more. She does try more. For the most, she gets it wrong more though. And so it's the argument of like playing it
I
safe,
don't
going
I
for the
don't
nil
think
nil, or risking it all for a 4-0 defeat.
Next note, Shinola coat.
Oh yeah, the
So
twenty nine
yeah,
thousand $99.99.
yeah.
Don't know why
What
that's
a
stuck in my
deal.
brain. What a deal! I know I love a bargain or some shit.
Yeah.
And it's literally a fucking charity shop, like rack in the back. Like
Yeah.
this is where you get me all my presents, you know, these fucking Hollywood backlots that are selling off shit.
Exactly.
And I was
No,
like,
I was gonna say that. I was like, this looks like a thrift store
it is a
near it's a
fucking
wrap. Yeah.
absolute joke. It's where, you know, Marge gets her Chanel dress in one of these fucking racks, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like it's a
yeah, yeah.
goodwill. Um,
It
I
just
think
made me think.
I think it's
I was
meant to be a
like,
Pretty Woman thing, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it is meant to be like I forget what it's called, but yeah, the row, the street.
Mhm.
I think it's just a case of this is what the budget would stretch to. But I was praying, I was hoping that we would get a Versace reference, or that Rena would at least try and pull something out of her
Yeah.
of her back
But
pocket for
before we storm ahead too much,
yeah.
when she's in Vegas or Hollywood, I can't remember where the fuck. I've got a note we skipped over. It's the two homeless people.
Oh, I
There's
don't know
a
if I remember
they're at the
that.
side of the road. I can't remember if it's a way hit shot. One of them says she was a showgirl, and
Yeah.
and the other guy's just like, got any change? But it is the worst. It's like YouTube skit level like of acting. They've obviously just improvising it. She's just saying, "You're homeless, like antagonize me, you know, make
Yeah.
say, you know, I tried to do it when I was young, like make me feel young, kind of thing." I can feel her direction, I can see it in my head, but there's nothing on the page, and it's just two Kickstarters or something, two people from a bar. It is worse. The just the way they deliver. What you've seen it twice, watch it a third time, and when this comes up, we we have done better than this. Like, and it gives me
Absolutely.
so much happiness to see something with 30,000 that fails. But that's my last note until later on. So guide me through the rest.
Okay, well, it's jumping ahead a little bit. This was in relation to the Doctor, but I was like, this is community theatre, like worse than community theatre level acting. I was like, again, this is just take one of the worst actors you have ever seen in your life.
So I want to frame. I assume this is the hip, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
uh
So I'm
huh,
gonna
yeah.
frame it. We haven't really framed this Golden Nuggets place very well because it's another void. Like it's a cupboard where we have to fit four backing dancers and the main lady, but
Yeah.
like we have no space. Like this is like 3 feet by 7 feet space. So they've all got to like shuffle in like awkwardly, and it's so fucking funny. There's a sabotage on the main girl.
Yeah.
Her,
It's the Showgirls,
it's the
diamonds
show.
on the floor, yeah.
I've seen Showgirls
Rhinestones
one.
on the floor,
Yep,
yeah.
and she doesn't go down. She lightly trips her. She stumbles and lightly falls on the ground. Very generous, like a 90-year-old lady asking her to take a bump on the ground, and all the other four dancers are still awkwardly kind of like shuffling and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the producer
Well,
cut,
this has
cut,
been
yeah,
choreographed,
yeah.
remember, Kyle?
It's cut, 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 you know, and we get the medical personnel, and out
Yeah.
shuffles like a man in a lab coat, like what the oldest guy, because obviously the oldest actor that auditioned, he'll play the doctor. He looks the most
Yeah, he has
distinguished.
the most
Yes,
gravitas,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. But it's a white. He looks like fucking Colonel Sanders coming shuffling
Yeah.
out of the again the one little back void door case that they all come out of, and his delivery, he like goes down. He's like, "It's a shattered hip bone. She won't be able to dance for a year," or something like that. You probably got the line down, but I delivered it
No, I
better.
didn't.
I've
Yeah.
delivered it better than he did.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's a fucking joke.
Congratulations, Mr. Shemansky. You've got the role. We're filming on Monday. Can you bring your own costume? Yeah, he's like I don't know why he stood out so much. I think it might be because he's one of the few people in the film who isn't either a pervert or a showgirl,
Hmm.
but he is like he's horrendous. It is impossible to put into words just how like he has like basically one line. He's just there to deliver this exposition. He's not has no emotional substance. He's just like bad news. You'll never dance again, man.
Hmm.
It's just that, and
No,
he
but it's so the
stinks
whole.
out.
It's because it's all framed weird because everything stops for like 3 beats while they all stand around and she lies there. She's not moaning or groaning. She's not in pain. She's just lying there. And then
Yeah.
he comes shuffling out of the darkness like fucking Victor von Frankenstein, and Luke just kneels down, just assesses it, doesn't do anything. And he's like, yeah, fuck, cracked hip bone. She won't be able to dance for at least a year. You have to get a new showgirl. And
Yeah.
everything, I mean, it's how Rena's writing exposition. It's how she's moving it along. And
Yeah.
it is done, she's to blame with the framing of it. That's what makes him so apparent because the focus is just on him. The limelight's on you. No one else is saying anything. No one else is doing anything. You have to
Yeah.
carry this scene, but you've never acted before in your life, and and also, can you make up the dialogue as you go? So
It blows my mind because I was like obviously I've auditioned for many parts which I have not got, and then I've seen the films or TV series and been like, ah, well, there we go. Well, did they do it better than me? But I'm like, did Rena audition the Doctor? Because I'm like, okay, not only do we have to imagine that they did more than one take and this is the best performance this guy delivered, but it's like you also have to assume that they tried numerous people as the Doctor.
well,
And this man was
I have him here. So his name is Jonathan Harris.
yeah.
He's credited as Doctor Harrison. Sorry, Jonathan Harrison,
Yeah.
credited as Doctor. 4 films he's been in.
Okay.
Never
He's
heard of
already
them.
more successful than me. So.
Spectre's Rock, Red
I thought you were
Lightning,
going to say Spectre.
Red Lightning, and The Making of Gnome Killer 2. 2 of these do not have covers on IMDb.
Okay.
However, they're all 6.6s. Showgirls
Yeah.
2, Pennies from Heaven, was his last film, so it might have been the film that made him
The
stop
career
acting.
ender.
Yeah, I'm not topping that. Like
Yeah.
that's my show reel.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
he is dreadful.
Yeah, okay. So I have some other quotes which we've skipped by, but I can't let them just fall into the abyss as they drive by in their black box car. Which I really like Rena's delivery of this line. I know I got an F in economics, but this doesn't add up very well.
Fantastic though. Again, like, am I being Tom Green here? Like,
Yeah.
like because if she like Tommy doesn't get away with the it was intentional, but Rena is
No.
making me start to think some of it could be.
Rena's god awful for 90% of the film, but then occasionally she'll hit a line out of the park with just the most amazing bimbo delivery that it's like it's something else. Next line, I'm like a burger drive through, and instead of a burger, it's a whore with fries and a soda.
Yeah.
Next line, I've managed to make an honest living in a G string. How could you do this to me?
That's good. I love a line. It's when it's the movie producer from the young guy. He's like,
Yeah,
you gotta go and meet this producer one on one. And she's like, but
yeah.
I'm just a dancer. I don't do that, And she's like, I made a pact with God. Is her line that I would only go as the line is I made a pact with God. I would only go as far as dancing, right? And then fucking 2 seconds later, he's like, go on. And she's like, okay, but one time, right? So that pact with God is
Yeah.
getting fucking ripped up. So I can go, and then we don't even fucking see it. The next cut is her on the phone again, picking up the same fucking phone and saying, okay, I did it. It's the same day. I'm like, come
Yeah.
on, Rena, like, cut this or what the fuck? Like, you've seen movies. So that's where I'm again, this swings it back into not Tom Green. This is all
Yeah.
just magical coincidence of the funny stuff.
Yeah. Um, so my next note is about the woman that you mentioned earlier, like the 60-year-old porn star.
Oh yeah, that's rough.
Because yeah.
That is rough. I mean, they don't make. I keep saying it. They don't make references to the ages much. There's like weird
No.
lines and stuff where we talked about, but most of the time, like Rena's treated as 24, like
Yeah.
a young
Young
lady.
ingenue
Yeah, yeah.
penny, yeah.
Like she's maybe Nomi from the first film almost.
Yeah.
Like so, this older star.
Which it's the Irishman again. This is a
Yeah.
meditation on aging and how cruel
But that's what I
America
want to do.
is to.
I want to do that. I want the 45-year-old single mom
Yeah.
wanting to be a
Yeah.
showgirl again, and I want
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like, give me that film. Like Aronofsky could give me that film. Like why can't you, Rena?
You know, Cal, we can't be too passive. It's fine to look to grown-ups and say they'll solve your problems, but you need to accept that we are the grown-ups and we need to make this film. Like, we can get Rena.
We
If
can.
Rena's making this,
Yes, if she's making Showgirls documentaries and yeah,
yeah, we can be like, Miss Rifle, we have the pitch for
like a good pitch,
Showgirls
yeah.
3, and we have a location. You're going to be working in a barcade. um,
It'll be better than
yeah.
2. Like that's all we can
It'll
say.
be better than 2. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Is it going to be the following the Exorcist franchise? um, okay, so she then gives the Claude to the top communist Russia monologue. Do you have anything to say?
No, like what, what have you got? Have you got the line written down there?
No, I don't have any of it. I think it's just
No.
like I came to America, like I in Soviet Russia,
Yeah,
it's a dog eat dog
yeah,
world,
like
and
yeah, like yeah. I don't have much to say. I don't have much to say about this lady, and she's a fucking pivotal character throughout. She's yeah, like 'cause I can't remember the whole fucking Helga Penny stuff as well. Like all this shit's totally minced in my brain. I don't really remember the order or why.
yeah.
Yeah, old lady. I'm just calling her old lady. I can't remember her name because she is. She's an old lady. I'm not being mean. She's I can't remember. Why she's a main star or something. She's a down. What did she do again?
Well,
She's a ballet.
this is
She
where
does ballet later,
this is
but
where I wanted to establish the Bidening of like the film as it goes on. It might be that they give less attention to introducing characters. It might just be that I'm worn down and there's a limit to the number of characters I can take when they're being chucked at you at 2:15 into 2.5 hour movie. She's her vibe. She's kind of like a life coach type figure because she's like, Penny, you're gonna teach me how to be a whore, and I'm gonna teach you how to be a Madonna. I think is loosely.
and she teaches her ballet though.
Yeah, yeah.
Embarrassing. And
Oh
ballet
God.
needs some
Yeah,
fucking. Again, I'm being very generous with
yeah.
this. Watching an elderly lady fucking carefully tiptoe around a room isn't ballet,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah. They also become lovers as well.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's just go through what I have, and listeners, if you haven't seen the film, maybe you can piece together from these bizarre interactions what relationship, or we know what relationship they have, but what this woman is. Fight fire with fire. They could fry an egg on my asphalt. My next note is goddess power, which is why I'm like, she's some kind of life coach. She's some kind of like spiritual mentor, guru type figure. Hot dogs with tongues is my next note.
Mhm.
Um, so they're like deep throat hot dogs, isn't it? Or
Yeah,
they're doing Lady and the
yeah,
Tramp, but with a hot dog, or
yeah. And it's some weird. There's a weird line about how in Hollywood they don't eat meat, and it's weird sexual shit going about how I haven't had a wiener as well.
yeah,
And I like because in Hollywood or in Vegas they don't eat meat. It's all I can't remember what the fuck it is. It's
yeah,
all something.
soy. They're all soy meats.
Yeah. And so, but then it's a lesbian room. I don't know.
Okay, okay. Next note.
I don't know what's going on, man.
Goddess power. So, oh wait, I've already covered goddess power. So, my next note, the next night caption, what the fuck? So this is like you're
Mhm.
3 hours later. Like they have no relationship. It's not like Christopher Nolan in Dunkirk where we're getting like the beach one day, the mole like day
No,
1 hour. Like it just randomly is like, oh, the next night, 3 days later. Like, why do they have these captions? And my next note, for God's sake, use some stabilization.
yes.
Then we have some more dialogue. I love chinchilla. I like it better than mink, in my opinion. What did you call it?
Hmm.
Chinchilla. Now, I don't know fur, but like the woman, the goddess, is showing off her fur coat, and I don't know fur, but like, do they dye fur? Because I'm fairly sure chinchillas aren't brown. I thought chinchillas' defining feature was that they're grey.
Yep, that's what I would have said.
Okay, okay. Well, Rena, when we make Showgirls 3, having lunch having lunch at, I don't know, I'm too tired to improv an Aberdeen establishment.
Yeah.
When we're all having a
Um,
pint.
I, I I've just done some research while you were talking about the
Thank you.
characters coming in and out and too much.
Yeah.
There is over 100 credited actors in this film.
Wow, I can believe it.
And then there's two. I'm not counting them. I gave up at 100. But at the very end of the list, there's two rest of cast listed alphabetically. There's two more as police officer and club goer. But even at the very end here, a lot of these are named characters. At the very
Wow.
end of 100 people, you're talking like Gerta, Bertha,
Wow.
Daryl, Julia the mass dancer, Dominique. Like they're not just
Good on
person for yeah.
good
So
on Rena. Like, yeah, it
this is
takes
there's a lot of people in this, but as an audience, oh my god, it melds
yeah.
together and your brain just stops. You just like you say, you cannot take in any more character. I can't remember faces.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
suddenly I'm suddenly blind. So that's a big problem. Like maybe at that 100-minute mark as well. Like
Yeah.
is where the brain just stops and you still got 45 minutes to go and it's dead air for
Yeah,
the
I've
most part.
capped out.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to shout Rena out for a moment because, like, good on her for crediting and giving everyone names when presumably, like, a bunch of these are extras. Because,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
like, it takes a village to make a film, and so, yeah,
it
well
does.
done. Rena with
It's
the
great.
Soviet Russia
If
attitude
she would,
towards.
if she asked me to take part, I'd say yes. So I
Yeah.
could go around and say I played Daryl in Showgirls
Yeah.
3, and
You just making up your backstory for what you were doing during the events of
yeah.
Showgirls 1. Um, this just, I'd love if this just starts some weird, like, I can't think of, like, what the good example is, but, like, I don't know, Cheers or whatever. You just go off when we
Mhm.
get the Daryl universe. Like, yeah, I'm going to make a spin
The
off for
Mork and
my
Mindy.
character. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, next quote, one of my favorites. Your basic primal instinct. Remember now, don't be afraid of your pussy. Which, like, okay, like her delivery of the word pussy is so funny because it's like it sounds like you're afraid of saying the word pussy.
Yeah,
Like it's like it's
it's
the Maud Lebowski. Like even the very word makes some men uncomfortable.
yes.
Vagina.
No,
Um,
yeah. Well, that's it. It's a freaking hard word to say sometimes, you know.
because she does this sort of weird like
Yeah,
head
like.
cock. I'm like, don't be
Mhm.
afraid of your pussy. And I'm like, did Rena direct her to do that? Was that just a choice she made?
Yeah, I think it's just I think you say it's just someone that's not an actor and isn't comfortable delivering lines
Nah. I
occasionally.
think you need to be truly confident as an actor in order to take such a swing. I think you have to be a Brando-esque talent to just be like, you know what? I'm going to pronounce this word like no one else has ever pronounced
Oh,
it.
I would. No, I would. If Rena's, I'm sorry, Rena, but if you were directing me and it was just that loose, because we've been in them before,
Yeah,
we've been
yeah,
directed by Rena's,
yeah.
and I'm going to take every opportunity to chew through the
Yeah,
scenery.
yeah.
I would be a fucking yeah, eating it.
Okay, my next note. Trying to get artsy with their shot through the glasses of piss.
Yeah. It's again, it's everything at the wall. I noticed that when fuck again, we're just jumping about now, but like the actual love scene that I talked about between Rena and the older lady in the
Yeah.
swimming pool
Oh, we're gonna
is
get to that. We're
is
gonna get to that.
okay. We're
This
not
is
there
just
yet.
like
Okay,
they
cool.
were in. She might have been teaching her to dance, or had just been having a conversation because the piss jars, like the piss glasses, they bring them to the poolside because these are like what
Yeah,
champagne flutes, but they're filled with
yeah,
like some weird greenish yellow liquid, which I don't know. You're the barman. Does that like?
yeah. What happens in Vegas? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that is yeah. So they do ballet. Well, again, generous, and then they talk. I don't know. Again, 60 things. 90 people could have come in and out of the film at the time between
Yeah.
this, but in my head, it's a smooth transition to like, oh, we're getting romantic now. But yeah, continue.
So, beware poker players and loose women. So, this was a piece of production design which I noticed, and it's notable only because it disappears. So, it's halfway through, like, there's like a kind of like wide shot of it's just like a sign that's in the goddess's kitchen, and then like they change the framing ever so slightly, or someone just like
Okay.
clears the sign out of shot so it disappears. Just one of those things that like you notice because it's suddenly there. Similarly, there's like a corner of a ketchup bottle sticking into shot, and I'm like,
Hmm.
for fuck's sake, did anyone look at like did
No,
they frame this up at all? And I was like, you know what? Let's like clear the ketchup
they
bottle.
don't. They don't. Because I think I've seen this before as well. Like they don't look through the lens. They
No.
look where like at the lens. So you're looking at because you've only been in front of the camera, you know. So you're gonna say that's where it should go, but you're not actually looking behind it. So you don't see what's in frame. You don't see if there's anything blocking out. You don't see if there's any, if anything's right. Occasionally, I don't think she looks behind the camera a lot, or someone doesn't. Like, I don't know if there is a cinematographer on this.
There is
I
someone
don't think there's one.
credited. Well,
There
I
is
think so.
because the choreographer was accredited higher than because that was like second billing was the
Yeah,
choreograph, and then
yeah.
it's like music. So like I assumed it was just Rena.
I only noticed it in the titles, I think. In the credits, rather. Okay, my next piece of dialogue. Tonight, I want you to teach me to be the whore. You're more than a whore. You're the goddess.
Hmm.
And this is a segue into my next note. Oh god, they're going to do the pool scene.
Hmm.
So, the infamous pool scene in which Nomi and Kyle MacLachlan have sex and they splash around. What did Mr. Razzie say? It's like flipper or something. Mr.
Yeah,
Razzie,
yeah.
in a rare good piece of creative expression by Mr. Razzie, he described it as like he had a good turn of phrase while describing it. But they do the pool scene, but with a little spin on it, where it's between two women, and there are ants crawling by the pool, which I observed was so disgusting. Like, I think it might be when they lay down their piss champagne flutes, and you just see like
Yeah,
tons of
because
ants scurrying by the poolside.
I mean it's grim. It's
Yeah,
grim. It's the best lit scene as well up until this part though.
yeah.
Again for her night shot, that's okay. It I noticed this was the one all over IMDb as well. They used this scene in all the stills
Oh,
because
really?
it is
Yeah,
one it is enough to remind you of the first film and
yeah,
it looks like a movie. All the stills are the bits that look like a movie
yeah.
and yeah, you not the 90% of shot on fucking video shit. So yeah, I don't have much to say other than it's fucking it was funny because they do put the piss glasses down. It's very awkward. Yeah, she pours the champagne piss on her tits, and
Yeah,
it's meant to be like she's just I don't know like it's very awkward and
yeah.
uncomfortable.
There's a bubble machine.
There is a bubble machine. There's also a After Effect bubble as
Yeah,
well that awkwardly fucking sticks in frame for too long,
yeah,
doesn't move. Yep.
yeah. And the music just makes it all the more ridiculous. It's truly, yeah,
Hmm.
it's truly awful. So, racing towards the end, I have a note. I know why this movie is 2.5 hours long. There is like 15 minutes of plot, which is just stretched out with these long dance or sex scenes.
Hmm.
You used to call me your love sponge. Now all you call me is a good cook, which could be a Drake lyric.
Yeah.
And then the goddess gets Jokerfied, I think.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
where she's like putting on makeup or something, being like, I've had it with this world. You know what nice guys finish last, and this just
Hmm.
I need to go and kill Thomas Wayne. Nah, I'm gonna shoot Robert De Niro. And I think this is a bit in the score where they have like MIDI trumpets again, just like undermining things of like just truly astoundingly shit soundtrack.
It's fantastic.
My next note, studio exec. So this is the big threesome, maybe more orgy scene, and I was like,
Oh yeah.
I like so Penny is having sex with a guy and someone else is there, and then he's like, we're just
Hmm.
waiting for the studio exec, and by this point my brain was in meltdown.
Oh, I'm not. I'm watching. I can. I see the scene, but I yeah. I'm not.
And
I'm totally long gone.
this is where I was like, this is a Verhoeven-esque act of genius, blurring of the lines, where I was like, I genuinely cannot tell if we are in the world of the film or not. I was like, is this woman actually meant to be playing a studio exec in the world of the film? or is this like, because she's like a porn parody studio exec, she's
Yeah.
not believable, but I couldn't tell
Yeah,
if that
everything
was
is.
in our world or in the world of the film. I was like, you might be like a real studio exec in the film and you're just a ridiculous actor, or you might be a great actor playing a studio exec in this man's fantasy. I have
Mhm.
no idea.
Art.
And then in another instance of a movie just speaking outside itself, summarizing things, Rena is like, "What was the director thinking?"
See again, that's almost going to pull me back into the Tom Green category.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you almost think, but that's probably just directed at like Verhoeven for
Yeah.
all the shit he got. Because I don't think Rena understands
Mm.
films like that. So I don't know, or maybe that's giving too much credit. Who fucking knows?
Yeah. Okay. So my next note is the detective maid MVP. So there's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a maid who just comes in and like delivers a bunch of exposition, which is just what you want at
Hmm.
the 2 hour mark in your 2:30 film. Is this the snuff film? For whatever reason, I love the detective maid. She was like one of the better actors, and she was also putting her foot on the pedal. And I was like, we're heading towards the end. Like, I liked her. I
Hmm.
dug her.
Fair.
Next line, we have perverts to please of all ages, and the shittest Kyle MacLachlan. Like, not the pine shop Kyle MacLachlan, not the dollar store Kyle MacLachlan, but the like, I don't know, ordered off eBay from China, takes 7 months to
Hmm.
arrive Kyle MacLachlan,
Hmm.
because they're doing the big like group audition scene from Showgirls, where he's like,
Hmm.
you, not you, fix your tits and then come back in 12 months, and like, yeah, the guy fucking sucks.
Yep.
And speaking of fucking sucks, he orders like he like makes Penny suck his finger, and it's like
Hmm.
another hideous Bo Derek covered in honey type scene, where I was expecting to
Hmm.
be like, oh no, not like that, that's disgusting, yuck. But instead he's turned on and he's like, you have such a beautiful smile, you need to keep it lubed up. And so
Fucking.
he makes her put Vaseline on her teeth.
Mhm. Yeah, but that's a callback to the start though,
Yeah,
because in the when she's at the pool table and the girls say that's how he exits the scene. The original cheeky club owner,
yeah,
he makes them Vaseline up their teeth,
yeah,
and then they awkward, like I said, then they awkwardly stand there for 4 seconds
yeah,
till Reno says cut. So that's a callback. It was a callback.
yeah.
All it's poetry.
Yeah. And so my next note, at one point the film was out of sync and I couldn't tell if it was my copy or the film itself. Um, then my next note, she shot his vest off.
Yep.
So this is like, who the fuck even is this?
I'm no help here.
Yeah.
Someone.
Penny shoots John McClane. Penny shoots a guy in a
Yeah.
wife beater, and she like shoots basically like the strap of his vest off. Like, I don't know, this poor guy gets shot. Like, I don't want to say poor guy because he might be a rapist or something. In fact, he almost certainly is. She shoots this man, and like the makeup is so crap, and like he gets shot like
Mhm.
5 times, and one of them does just sever the strap of his shirt. It's like, I'm just like,
Fantastic.
does anyone on this set like ever seen another movie with a gun before?
Yeah. Well, Rena hasn't though, because there's no guns in striptease, or
Yeah,
well, there is.
yeah,
So
yeah.
fuck
A
knows.
guy pulls a gun and
Yeah.
next note, a soundless slap. So I think this
No,
might even be the
the slap.
guy. Like she slaps someone, and there's just like I don't know. This is again movie making 101. Of if you want to sell a slap, 90% of it is in the sound effect, but in
Yep.
this it's
Yep. Yep.
completely silent.
Yeah, because there's a lot of like it's strange no contact
Yeah,
when it comes to like, the physicality. That's what I was meaning, when even at the start when they're sort of tussling,
yeah,
there she's not. There's no one. She doesn't know that. She's never seen that in films, like probably behind the scenes, like a fight.
yeah.
Like on that Showgirls one, I don't know what the fuck, but for some reason everything's no contact. So the slap must be. I missed it though,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna have to. I'll see it on my rewatch.
Okay, my next note is, so we're ripping off David Lynch now when the small actor phones her on the phone and gives some like coded reference or something, doesn't she? Doesn't he?
I've seen it. but I don't remember what he said. I was like,
I'm
ah,
just imagining a
I'm all
guy in
out.
a red
I'm all,
velvet room with like a
yeah, but
zigzag,
yeah,
being like
everything.
bird
Yeah.
suit.
I can't remember it that well. I remember him. I do. I
Yeah,
can see him, but like I don't remember what the fuck he said because I'm totally tuned out. And I was like, oh, like, if this was again, if this was 90 minutes, I would be
yeah.
jumping about, screaming for joy. But you've burned me out. My brain just won't take in information. Oh yeah,
He says,
I
if you
remember
see me
Twin
two
Peaks.
more times, something good's gonna happen to you. If you see me three more times, then something very bad is gonna happen. Okay, next line of dialogue: Little Miss Red Riding Whore.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I think this might be the authorities catching up with Penny. I think this might be the detective guy who says that.
Hmm.
40 is the new 28 is a line which Penny says to comfort the goddess. I'm not even a girl anymore. I'm just some kind of jungle animal. What? A cougar, Helga.
40 is very generous as well. So 40 is the new 29. What's six mean?
It's a new 40. So it's basically 28. Then we learn that Penny had a twin sister who died in a bubble bath accident,
Oh
which
yeah.
does that tie in with the bubbles during the sex scene? Is that her
I
reliving some trauma?
yeah. I did remember this little bit, and but it was one of those like my reaction right now where I was like, what? Eh? Okay.
Yeah,
Whatever. I don't. What's that? Okay. Like thing is, I Penny has a big backstory in Rena's head. Like
yeah,
Rena is Penny,
yeah,
and the whole life of Penny is written out. It's just she doesn't know how to express it.
yeah.
That's like as a creator, she can't do that. But yeah, like I had no idea if this again, nothing ties into anything, nothing's of importance, and that's why I checked out.
Yeah, I just want to single out the phrase "bubble bath accident," which like is just so funny to put it like that because it just reminded me of Zoolander. Like, just because we have chiseled abs and stunning features doesn't mean that we too can't not die in a freak gasoline fight accident. Of I'm like nobody describes Matthew Perry's death as a tragic bubble bath accident, do they? Like headline, like yeah. So just the reporting of it is it's interesting that they
it makes
stress the
it make
bubbles.
yeah, it insinuates that it was the overdosing of them, the bubble.
Yeah, a cop just be like, God damn it, bubbles. I try and tell them, if you gotta take a bath, then do it in
Yeah.
clear water. At least that way you can see your way out. But so many people just
500 mils is enough, but this crazy fucker put in 2 liters.
use the whole bottle of Mr. May. She OD'd on Matey. Happens to so many young women. They move to Hollywood and get big dreams.
Keep chasing that bubble high.
Okay, the iPad billboard dates this. Like, this
Yeah.
is like a perfect slice of 2011
Yeah.
culture when we get that weird iPad billboard. My
It
next.
was also a reminder of how far away 1994 was, which again should have been relevant, but
Yeah,
wasn't.
yeah. So, like, what is it? So, 1994 was 17 years before this film, and we are now, we're now 12 years away. So, we're closer to this film than it was to
Yeah.
Showgirls. So, the time is right for us to make Showgirls 3, is what I'm hearing.
Yep. Yep.
But
5 years production.
we're going to become the Richard Linklater of just the before series. Who needs to follow this? It's just interesting because the iPad's the only really thing that dates it beyond like the
Oh yeah.
cinematography and the weird. And to be honest, I kind of put that like a little earlier than 2011,
I
I
would have
guess.
I would have put this at like Mulholland Drive time, or
Yeah,
like
it's
at
the
least
Inland
Inland
Empire. Yeah,
Empire.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, like 06, 05. That's right. And then even then, that's a little bit closer as well. Like 6 years is a long time.
yeah.
So you could have probably got away with Showgirls 2 in 2004.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what other like things they should have had in 2011 because 2011 obviously prime of my life. I was at university. I was on exchange in Canada, so we should have had Carly Rae Jepsen playing here. The Black Eyed Peas. I got a feeling we're gonna rescore the film with all the hits of 2011. Penny's gonna be dancing to
Hmm.
David Guetta. We're gonna have something about
Hmm.
Stop Coney 2020.
I
20,
would have Penny stuck in 1994.
yeah,
So I would have someone like film her on an iPad, and I want her to be like, "Put away your magic box," you know, like, "What's that?" You know, "What's
Amazing.
going on?" Like, I want her ordering Crystal Pepsi at a bar and being like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, like
This is
I
David
want
Lynch's
stuck
Showgirls
then.
too. If she just like is in her
Hmm.
own frozen
Stuck in
reality,
1994.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, amazing. My next line: "The Madonna and the whore, we both are valuable," which I think was a late attempt to provide a motto to this film,
Hmm.
which was rapidly undercut by the appearance of the racist tiki guy. Mickey Rooney is in this film.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Shit. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thanks, what?
So he's not doing yellow face in a literal sense, but he is doing the like stereotypical. It's a white guy. It's a white comedy guy doing like the Mickey Rooney like Chinese broken English act, and then he gets no response. He's just kind of like, "Ah, oh, fuck yous, you don't get it, do you?" And like kind of takes off his big goggles, his thick like Coke bottle goggles, his little lampshade hat or whatever. And like, I don't know, again, they're just throwing things at you. It's like, why the fuck is this guy? Why the fuck are we now watching like a Jeff Dunham character in the last,
Hmm.
last 10 minutes
That
of the
that's
film?
where, and that's what reminds me of like, I was saying these like cool cat saves the kids and all this shit.
Yeah,
Like these weird little things where you have to shoehorn in buddies,
yeah,
like to fill time, and it's okay. I'll let you shoot here, but you've got to put my act in.
yeah,
So I
exactly. Yeah.
MC a comedy, yeah, club
I'm
or some
working
shit.
on a racist Chinese guy.
We'll
You
see. What test it?
just
Test it
wait
in
till
your
you hear
movie.
how he pronounces fried rice. Yeah, so next note is karaoke Sugar Plum Fairy because the goddess does like a ballet thing. And we just get again
Oh
polyphonic
yeah,
keyboard do do do
yeah.
do 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 do, which I guess it's rights free public domain, so at least we get like some decent music. And then okay, this is the final note I have for the film.
Good.
It's the usual suspects. Give me the keys, you cocksucker. We get a lineup of,
Hmm.
of these women, and I'm fully prepared to accept the blame because both times I'd just been granted submission, so I wasn't really following what was happening. But a guy is trying to identify Penny for the murderer.
Murders, yeah.
Yeah, but because of it, he's going around down the line of suspects. But for whatever reason, it's like Cinderella, but instead of a slipper, it's an ass grope. Of he's like, if I
Mm.
could squeeze her ass, I'm sure I'd be able to positively ID her. And so he goes down squeezing these women's asses, and he's like, no, not quite right, not quite right. And then he does it to Penny, and he's like, bingo. And then we get the detective, who I'm sure says the line, and that would be Penny's slot, which kind of gets us out of the film. Is that someone throws a magazine out in the trash or whatever? Like,
Yeah. I roll credit. That's
yeah,
I whatever. Yeah, like I'm long done. I do sort of remember that because he was like, oh yeah, shit, this was written by Rena.
yeah,
Like you're to blame for this. Like fucking hell. Yeah, I just fucking it was even 20 minutes before this, I was like, just roll the credits, please. I don't care. Mid scene, I
yeah,
don't care. Just do it. Like mid dead air, just cut the credits.
yeah. Amazing. Okay, so I'm just bringing it up here because my oh yeah, fuck, that's it. So we find out that Penny has this necklace that is like is her the remains of her sister, which is being compressed into a diamond.
I don't remember this.
Do you not remember this? Penny has a necklace. It's
No.
her sister's ashes in diamond
I
form, and I'm sure
I forgot about the twin thing and the dead sister. I totally forgot.
she has to pawn it at some point because the detective or someone, a police officer, turns up and gives it back to her right in the final scene. And then we get the guy in the black box who's like, I guess you are a starfucker. Like I can't remember. It ends with her being
I
released from jail or she gets out or
you know me when it comes to the ends of films, and I'm running outside for a
yeah,
cigarette.
yeah, yeah,
I'm very guilty. I'm sorry. I was like,
yeah,
I mentally turned off. But I was like,
yeah.
Jericho can fill me in.
I
And
just
off
remember
I go.
moments, but I have no idea how they joined together because I'd missed some key piece of
Mm.
information. But
Oh,
the
I
credits,
missed many.
the the credits. So the thanks, a special thanks to in this film. You won't have made it that far, but
No, I didn't.
there's a whole slew of names, including special thanks
Joe
to
gets a thanks.
no,
Joe.
no,
No, no, no.
no Joe. I don't think there's any
Okay.
Joe. I missed him. I wrote three down. You can probably.
Based, I think based on characters by Joe Estevez or Estevez was the only time.
I don't think his
I'm
name
sure I seen
comes.
that.
Okay.
No,
Uh,
I'm sure I seen it. I'm sure legally you've got to, right?
yeah. Well,
Maybe I just imagined it.
I just do not fucking understand this film because I said to you before you'd watched it, I was like, how in the fuck did they get this made? Because this seems like the kind of thing that would get done after Showgirls is in the public domain. This seems like one of those Winnie the Pooh, Blood and
It's a
Honey.
fan film,
Exactly,
though.
yeah. I was
It's
like,
a
I
fan film.
can't imagine Paul or Joe or like the studio, was it 20th Century Fox? I can't remember all the people involved signing off on this getting made.
Yeah, but yeah, we can be sneaky. Like you
Yeah.
don't see. I know that you know this from your troll twos. I know this from all my zombies. A lot of times you can just name it whatever the sci-fi movie Titanic too. That's Cameron isn't going to do anything about that. So yeah, Joe Dante is not coming after you. No one's coming after you. Just call it whatever the fuck you want. And that's what brings me on to my final little point before we wrap this up.
Okay, no,
Well,
you still need to guess the names. So
oh,
Joe Esterhas, his name does not appear anywhere on the
okay.
film, and the special thanks, three names. You might be able to guess two of them. You're not going to guess the third.
No, relate on it.
Okay, so first off, we have special thanks to one Mr. David Lynch, and then we get thanks to Paul Verhoeven, and then the final thank you we get is you two's The Edge.
For
I-
existing? So, okay. I mean, these are all I can answer. The Edge is because you were allowed to film in his back garden.
I don't think it's even that. I think it's that she met him at like a strip club one night or something, and he was like, "Oh, cool! Me and Bono did a song for Goldeneye."
Yeah.
And
No, because he's not involved in any way. It's I'll lend you my fucking car
yeah,
for a
yeah,
shot. Yeah, like it's that's a friend neighbor. That's a
yeah,
neighbor, Hollywood friend neighbor, and it could be the same for like Lynch. She could have asked Lynch. I would believe if she was in Mulholland Drive
yeah.
or she was near Beverly Hills and she could phone him up and
She
go,
pulled out the call
David.
sheet and was like, "Okay, so
Yeah,
his number's on this."
yeah,
Who
yeah.
the fuck is
and
this?
and it's a thanks to Paul for just letting it happen.
Yeah.
Like Paul, yeah, whatever. Like I'm an 81-year-old Dutchman. Fuck, go ahead.
I don't think
Like
so. I think he was on set. I think he was very involved
I
mentoring.
wish he was on set. But he's not going to give a shit because it doesn't make him look any bad.
No,
Whatever, do what you want. Like,
it makes him
yeah, it
look
makes me
better
look
that he
good.
was the
Yeah,
inspiration for such a great piece
yeah.
of art. And the
And again,
final,
it shows you how a difference between a director and a non-director.
yeah,
So it's like, give the tools. Yep.
yeah,
And final.
the final one, and extra special thanks to all the fabulous Showgirls fans. Not that fabulous,
Well,
Rena. They only gave you 30,000
well,
dollars.
yeah, they gave the documentary fucking money, but that's because they could have got a signed copy of Showgirls too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that again, I do think this is for the fans.
yeah,
A lot of it, and maybe that's what the meta-ness. Even if she doesn't understand it, is because she knows she'll be reacting with the crowd, at these showings, these like sort of Rocky Horror, sing like they'll make because Showgirls is a phenomenon
yeah.
and like the cult circuit. She'll be there, she'll see it, she'll have made a second living on cons and stuff,
I
like
reckon
going
there's a
to
bunch of
conventions.
horny guys that love Showgirls.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
remember that guy?
absolutely.
Did you see the guy in the pandemic on Twitter who everyone was obsessed with him in lockdown for like a couple weeks, where they discovered that there's this guy on Twitter who's an account who goes to porn conventions, and he just it's like hundreds upon hundreds of the most awkward looking photos of him with porn stars.
That's
And
fantastic.
people are like, "Go on, King, live your dream."
Horrifying.
Yeah, I can imagine that Rena has a lot of like
Yes,
the
yes.
shall we say neurodiverse men who are very interested in her body
And
of work.
honestly, you could, and that's where I think you can make a profit
Mm.
for 30,000. You conventions flog these for $10, $20 signed.
Yeah.
Boom,
Mm-hmm.
you'll make your money back.
Yeah.
Reno probably has a little house based off this, so
Yeah.
she can make her, yeah, she can dig her heels in.
Yeah.
So yes, before we wrap up, just on the you can name a film whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
While I was trying to look up stuff about Showgirls too, I kept getting directed to Showgirls 3,
Okay.
London Calling.
Oh, yeah.
I can't find so much about. 2015, it's one review on Letterboxd, not very much about it. So it's obviously nothing to do with Showgirls.
Yeah.
It seems very Italian,
Yeah.
slap a title on it. But I don't know if that's ever something we're gonna have to research, even if nothing to do with it.
If we have to
The
make
Italian,
Showgirls 4, I'm not particularly
the,
happy,
It-
but I would do it.
the Italians, yeah, the Italian in me makes me want to think, God, we have to. Well, it counts. It's like a
Yeah,
Django,
yeah.
you know. You
No,
can't just name things.
we are gonna Paul Schrader it. We're gonna be like, fuck you. We're gonna make this anyway.
And if that was the case, if we lose 3, I'm happy going with the original title of Showgirl.
Yeah.
I can do that. I can alien to aliens in reverse.
Yeah.
Showgirl versus Predator is coming.
So our usual topics of discussion. This, were eligible, would be Razzie worthy in every single category because it's dreadful.
There's nothing good.
Yeah.
There's not one point where you're like, that's well done by anything. No delivery, no writing, no cinematography, the music, everything, editing, everything.
Yeah.
Just sweet.
And the fixes, kind of discussed them.
Yeah.
Like, just have someone, even have a student, someone who's studying cinematography, film it. Have a student who's doing sound, include some striptease references. Just like pare it down, edit some of the dead space in between people's dialogue. There's so many
Have
things
more fun,
you could do that
like,
would improve this immeasurably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, so that brings us to a close for another week. If you enjoyed this episode, then you can contact us at watchingworstfilms@gmail.com, or you can follow us on social media where we are Watching Worst. And you can join us next time as it all comes to a close. You won't stop the music. You shouldn't stop the music. You can't stop the music.
Oh, I'm just a young man. What am I going to do?
You've been working too hard, my friend.
Well, there's a place I can go. Right. See you then, guys. Thanks very much.